Nostalgia. It is a very dangerous thing to become addicted to. This longing for the past, this mindset that everything that happened before is better than everything that is happening right now. I think the easiest example of nostalgia is when we think of playing computer games when we were young. For me, it was my N64, Mario 64, Zelda, International Superstar Soccer, GoldenEye. Those are the games of my youth. But for you, it might have been the PlayStation 1, it might have been the Xbox, it might have been the PlayStation 2, it might even have been the SNES. Mario on the SNES, I did play that when I was young too. We look back on those gaming experiences, and despite all the technological advances, nothing that we see or do or feel today can compare to that. And it doesn't just apply to computer games, it applies to everything. Let's talk about travel, let's talk about Thailand. Even this place today, Saong Beach, it's just next to Sattahip area, which is just south of Pattaya. The most exciting beach. It's a very local beach, very local community, very nice community. But this little wall of rocks, which if you can see over my shoulder there, extends right up the coastline there. I assume that has been put there deliberately with a purpose. I assume this isn't natural, because this wasn't here the last time I came here 6 months ago. I am stood here on these rocks right now, reminiscing about the old Saong Beach and the way things used to be. Now, as I always say in my videos, guys, I am just a man on your screen sharing my experiences, but my idea of the good old days of Thailand is going to be very different to your idea of the good old days of Thailand. So let's ask the one person we can trust, ChatGPT. ChatGPT, my friend, please generate a nostalgia-inducing picture of the land of smiles. Something that when people think of the good old days of Thailand, this is what comes to mind. Okay, that's a little bit too historic for my liking. I'm talking beaches, islands, the early days of traveling. There it is. You've got those sepia tones, those long tail boats, an empty beach, typical Thai style mountains in the background. But ChatGPT, make it a little bit more modern. Okay, I see where you're going. Even more modern. Starting to look a lot like the Thailand we know today. Make it even more modern than that. Okay, I think you went too far. Whenever I get comments on my channel of people saying that they visited Thailand in the 80s or the 90s, I feel jealous, I feel envious. I wish I could have seen Thailand during that time, but I could not, as I was just a small seed of sperm. But the first time I did come here, 2013, the second time, 2014, this is the Thailand I feel nostalgic about. People say social media has played a big part in Thailand becoming less and less desirable, and I 100% agree with that. Even myself here on YouTube, I've been described as an absolute clown, a braggadocio who knows nothing, but I don't claim to know anything. I only claim to know what I know. And what I remember from my first time in Thailand, from my first experiences, was yes, we did take pictures, but it wasn't all about business. It wasn't all about being an influencer. It was about having fun, living in the moment, sharing those moments, yes, but experiencing those moments for yourself more than for other people. Particularly my second trip to Thailand, 24 years old, 5 best friends, all with a little bit of disposable cash to enjoy ourselves. We're not backpackers. We're not doing anything on an absolute budget here. We're not ballers, don't get me wrong, but we could really enjoy and savor every moment. And the stories, the memories that were made on that trip, I cannot repeat them on this YouTube channel, but they will stick with us for a lifetime. But when we return to a place, having not been there for a while, one of the first things we do is look for something familiar, look for something that we know, that we remember, that is still standing. The concept of unfinished abandoned buildings is fascinating to me. I mean, look at this monster of a building behind me, and I can see some people are living in there, but the whole front part here just looks completely unfinished. Look where it is, right on the beach. There must have been meetings so many years ago that were like, you know what, we're going to turn this into the new area of Thailand, or one of the new areas of Thailand. They invested all this money, built all that infrastructure, then at some point it just stopped. And now it's there, 60%, 70% unfinished, but in front of an absolutely stunning beach. On this side, beautiful sunset. And it's probably an hour and a half away from Bangkok, this. Yet for some reason, this just didn't happen. You drive around, you see somewhere on the map just a random beach you've never heard of, and there's a reason you've never heard of it, but it fascinates me to think that historically there were plans in place, there were discussions in place to make these places into the Pattaya, the Patong, Yao Nangwa. It's just funny how certain areas developed in the way they did and certain areas did not. Time is always ticking away. We cannot stop time. I think one of the most popular groups of expats here in Thailand, the old men who come out here and frequent places like Pattaya, they go online in the daytime and say they hate the youth of today. Oh, everyone stay home. Thailand's not what it used to be. Then they go out to the bars at nighttime and pay beautiful young girls to have conversations with them, to pretend they're interested in them. If that's not trying to recapture your youth, guys, I don't know what is. And I think that is what nostalgia is. It's that longing to recapture your youth, that longing to recapture a moment in time. And the problem is we can never do it. It's always going to be there in 2014 for me, in 1995 for some people, in 1985 for others, hell, even 1960 for some people. The early adventurers, respect those people. A lot of them look down on those who have come to Thailand after them. People don't have to discover Thailand anymore. You can see most of it online, and that does take a lot of the fun away. Respect the people who came here pretty much blind. Maybe they had a little guidebook with a few pictures, but they had to discover it themselves. That must have been exhilarating for them. You simply can't do that anywhere anymore. Even places like Vietnam, which people say has that old feeling that Thailand used to have. You can find endless stuff online about Vietnam. It's not some unknown, mysterious place. This is the world we live in now, a world where nostalgia rules over modern society. We don't like what we see now, myself included. I wish you could head down to a beautiful beach in Thailand nowadays, have it to yourself, living in the moment, but instead they will be groups of influencers doing the latest dance routine, the latest online trend. The younger generation have been conditioned that way. These companies have conditioned them to feel like they will be rewarded for following the crowd, for doing the same as everyone else. Having said all that, there are still areas in Thailand that are yet to be discovered. I've seen them with my own two eyes. But here's a little food for thought for you guys. This beach here is called Saong Beach. Never been here before, but I know that it is right next to this industrial park. There's a little industrial area right on the coastline, just at the beginning of Rayong province. Not sure if you can see behind me there. I'm not going to go close and start sticking a camera, but there's some huts and shacks and hammocks, and this is where some people live. It's crazy that in 2025 that is still possible, and I don't mean that in a bad way, like they shouldn't be able to do it, but what I'm saying is you think Thailand is basically all geared towards tourism now. Everywhere has become overdeveloped, everywhere has become over touristic. Still people who are living right here on the beach, this sunset side. Every single night they get to enjoy a stunning sunset. We imagine the Thailand of old, we think of people living on the beach, fishermen, etc. Of course, little huts designed for the early tourists, designed for the early travelers. This is connected to all the roads. Imagine if they just stuck a couple of huts along here, cleaned it up a little bit. You got yourself a new area on your hands. Really interesting to come across these places and to find how many areas of this beautiful country remain untouched. I had a great youth, surrounded by great friends, great memories. Now, growing up is great, but you have to let go of a lot of that. And I think that's when the nostalgia hits you the most, when you know that a certain part of your life is finished. Responsibilities take over and you have to let go of certain things. It can cause a lot of challenges. I've experienced it myself. Life can get on top of you sometimes. You feel like you're losing who you were, like a little part of you is no longer there. Friendships growing apart. Not making the same type of memories that you used to. You feel like that part of your brain, of your memory bank has been locked. But I am very lucky to be in a stage of life where I've got new, exciting things happening. A beautiful wife, a perfect baby. Those are the memories that I'm making now. Of course, I still speak to my friends. Of course, I still see my friends occasionally. But as you grow up, family life does take over. I like that thrill of riding a roller coaster. Not riding the roller coasters anymore, but instead what you're on is one of those steady boat rides that rocks from side to side. Occasionally it bangs up against some rocks. You feel a little bit of a buzz. Nostalgia can be very addictive, especially if we let it consume us, especially if we don't live in the present, if we choose to focus so much on the past that we don't allow ourselves to enjoy the present. In the case of places like Thailand, it's great to acknowledge that things might have been better before, but they ain't going back to that. They never will go back to that. But the best thing to do is find the best Thailand that you can possibly find now and enjoy it as much as you can. Just my 2 cents on the matter. I hope you've enjoyed this little ramble, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye.